We're now starting our town council meeting. Before I do that, I would like to request a motion to start our meeting.
Councilmember Melinda Mendoza, I will make that motion stated.
Councilmember Brooks seconds it.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
I would like to review the agenda, and we may have some changes to it. So for this evening, we'll do the Pledge of Allegiance, approval of the agenda, presentations. We have some special people here tonight that we will introduce. We'll then go through the consent agenda. We'll go through the mayor's report, council member reports and concerns, resident comments. Under new business, we have a resolution in regards to the Port Town CDC. And then under unfinished business, we have the resolution affirming the town's commitment to human rights and a call for ceasefire in Gaza. And then we'll discuss the ARPA fund expenditure. And then we'll adjourn. Yeah. I'm wondering where we do the celebration and where we do the recognition of Brooksy and everyone. After the Pledge of Allegiance? Under the presentations? Okay, got it. Okay, great. So I would like to do a roll call. So Ward 1,
Present.
Ward 2,
Present.
Ward 3,
Present.
Ward 4.
Present.
I would like to request approval of the agenda for this evening.
I'd like to add a closed session item to the end of this agenda, please. Thank you. Councilmember Brooks, Ward 3.
What is the closed session request for? What item?
It's for a personnel matter.
A personnel, town personnel item?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Do you have any knowledge of this or what we're? Can I ask Councilmember Brooks outside real quick what this is in reference to? Do you want to confer with me very quickly? Because I don't know what this is in reference to. I would have liked it if you would have emailed us or spoken to us beforehand. This was just sprung up on me now.
Yes, and that's why it needs to be brought up with the whole town council.
And it
So-
will.
So are you saying you're going to deny it?
I'm saying I'd like to have a little bit more context.
And it will be with the town council. But if you want to deny it, that's fine.
Did I say I was going to deny it?
No, but I'm looking for a response, a yay or nay.
Yeah, so I'm
Thank
asking you, excuse me, Councilmember Brooks, I'm asking you some questions for more clarity.
It needs to be brought up with the town council as a whole, Mayor. That's the clarity. So you can either say yes to the addition of the closed session or no.
Is allowed to bring these items up for a closed session. Yeah. Mr. Baden, if you're on, do you have a quick?
Yes, ma'am.
So so for a closed session, who normally calls for a closed session? Is it any council member and Ms. Smith, don't leave yet. Just give me 1 second. I'm trying to clarify this. And can I ask Councilmember Brooks for more clarity? This was something that was very unexpected.
Yeah, usually if you know you're going to have a closed session, you actually advertise in advance, that you will be going into a closed session. It doesn't prohibit you from doing that. If one of the council members deems they want to go into a closed session, they would make a motion and would need a second from another council member and a vote in order for you to actually agree to go into it. I don't think, you should be making the decision yourself. But if he wants to make a motion and gets a second, then you could have the closed session.
Okay, perfect, thank you. So that's the clarity that I was looking for, Councilmember Brooks. It always helps to kind of get some clarity and as someone else that's experienced with all of this. This is the first time that I've experienced it, so thank you for allowing me the time to get more clarity on this.
So Councilmember Brooks, Ward 3 makes the motion to add a closed session to this meeting at the end of the night. Thank you.
Councilmember Harden, I'll second the motion.
It's okay.
Back up a second here. We haven't accepted the actual agenda for the tonight. So can we do that
So we're
first and
accepting the
then-
agenda first and then make an amendment?
Well, we're
No.
adding an item to it, so this-
Yeah, we're
wouldn't
adding
this
an
be
item to the agenda.
Wouldn't this be the place where we add this item?
But as what Dan just pointed out is a separate motion.
Okay,
that
got it,
He's asking for, that was being put into the agenda as a regular business.
got it.
And you would also have to specify the reason for the closed session, one of the 14 items, which in this case sounds like would be to discuss personnel matters.
Yeah, okay.
That would be the motion.
Ask that the agenda be approved first.
Yeah, so let's go, let's do that first. Let's approve the agenda first. So I would like to request a motion to approve the agenda.
Councilmember Hobbs makes a motion to approve the agenda.
Councilmember Harden, I'll second the statement.
So all in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed? Okay, ayes have it. Councilmember Brooks, would you like to make that motion again?
So in the words, Mr. Baden, can you state that word for the motion that needs to be made to add the closed session?
You make a motion to go into a closed session to discuss a personnel matter.
Councilmember Brooks, Ward 3 makes the motion to add a closed session to discuss a personal matter to the end of this meeting. Thank you.
Councilmember Harden, I'll second that motion.
Okay, all in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, great, thank you. So we've added the closed session agenda item after unfinished business before the adjournment. Okay, great, thank you. Okay, so let's please all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Chief, can you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance? To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. I would also like to ask before we begin for a moment of silence for the workers that died on the Key Bridge. And I would also like to request a moment of silence for Brooksy Seaman, who is Michael Gorham's wife. She passed away last week. Mike Gorham had been with the town for over 40, close to 45, if not more years, as a public works supervisor, and his wife passed away. So if we just take a couple moments of silence for those two items, please. Okay, thank you. So now we're under the presentation item. So if you're running for council, please stand up. If you're running for council, please stand up. Stay standing, please. Thank you. Can you please go to the microphone and introduce yourself? This includes you, Councilmember Brooks.
Was this an item added to the agenda?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes, just your name, how long you've lived in town, and what ward you're running for.
Good evening. My name is Inga McMichael, and I've been living in the town since 1977, and I'm running for council member for Ward 3. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Philip Emirates. I've lived here in town for 2 years now, and I am running for Ward 3 council member.
Hi, folks. My name is Salvatore Messina. Been living in town for 3 years. I am running for office in Ward 2. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Trevante Jenkins, go by TJ. I am native to the Washington DC area, graduated from Prince George's County High Schools, and I am running for Ward 1. I've been living here for 2 years about.
Hi, I'm Allison Pages. I've been living in Colmar Manor since 2010. I'm running for Ward 2. I'm currently a Sampson Properties real estate agent, and I've been a real estate agent with various companies since 2006, and prior to that, I was a high school teacher. My last middle school was Robert Frost Middle School in Montgomery County, but I've been here since 2010.
Thank you for all those residents that are participating. This is, I believe, the most we've had in a while run for office, so thank you. My name is Keith Brooks, current council member for Ward 3. I've lived here since about 2021, and yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much. So I have this one pager that I have specifically made for anyone that's running for council. So can someone volunteer to hand this out to our prospective candidates? I have a couple of little words that I have for you. Okay, so first off, I want to say thank you so much for running to be a member of our council. That takes a lot of courage. And it's not something that's easy to do. So thank you for stepping up to the plate. I really appreciate it. Elections are the cornerstone of a democracy, a fundamental expression of our collective voice and will. They give us the power to choose leaders who will shape our future, enact policies, and represent our interests. However, it's not just about selecting individuals. It's about electing those who understand the value of collaboration. Very key word, collaboration. Choosing leaders who are willing to work collectively is crucial because governance requires cooperation and compromise. No single individual has all the answers or can solve complex problems alone. They cannot. I cannot. I do not do any of my work alone, and I shouldn't. When leaders collaborate, they bring diverse perspectives to the table, fostering innovation and inclusivity. Electing individuals who prioritize collective action over partisanship leads to more effective governance. It ensures that decisions are made in the best interest of the people, rather than being driven by narrow agendas or personal gain. Just as important, these leaders should have a genuine love for their community and the people that they represent. They do not wish this to be Indiana. They do not wish for this to be Virginia. They do not wish for this to be New York. They embrace what we have here in Colmar Manor, and they work towards a brighter future to embrace what we currently have and just celebrate what makes us awesome and just continue building on that. Therefore, as we exercise our right to vote, let us remember the importance of selecting leaders who value collaboration and unity. Together, we can build a future that is brighter and more prosperous for all. So thank you again for stepping up to the plate. It's going to be a fun ride, and we're going to do great things in this community. So thank you.
I had one question.
I'm sorry, I wasn't done.
Okay, I'll wait until you're done. Thank you.
Thank you, council member. For our current council, on behalf of our community, I extend heartfelt gratitude for your dedicated service throughout the past term. Your tireless efforts, commitment, and passion have positively impacted the lives of countless individuals. Your leadership has guided us through challenges. Your wisdom has shaped policies, and your advocacy has ensured that our voices are heard. Your work has not only improved our present circumstances, but has also laid the groundwork for a better future. So as you conclude this term, please know that your contributions have not gone unnoticed. And I'm looking at you, Malik, and you, Melinda. Your selflessness and devotion to public service inspire us all. We are immensely grateful for your unwavering dedication to making our community a better place. Thank you for your service, and may your legacy continue to resonate for years to come. This is not the last thing that will be said on your term. We will celebrate more, but I definitely just wanted to share this heartfelt message with you. As someone that is new to this and you've been doing it longer than I have, I've learned a lot from you. I appreciate the pushback and the support that you've given. I know that we've tackled some difficult things, and despite all of it, despite all the stones that were thrown at you, you stood strong, and you stood in your values. And I appreciate that because it has created a more open community. You've given a voice where there was none. But we've also done some amazing things in town while you've been here, and we'll continue to do that. So I hope that this isn't the end, right? I'll be looking at you to continue working in our community.
Thank you, Mayor. But I also wanted to extend this to our former council member Bowles. For me personally, it was definitely support, but more than anything, a beacon of what things can be. And I really appreciate you, former council member Bowles. So thank you for the support and the things that you did on council.
Yeah, thank you. And that's an awesome reminder about everyone that has served, right? We don't do any of this alone. We work together. So, and even after people step down, they're still involved. At least I hope and wish that they will be. So just thank you. Councilmember Brooks?
I just wanted to congratulate you on pointing out the collaboration and specifically the love for the town. I definitely feel that a council member who has those will do well for the leadership position. That is all.
Okay, and so for those who are running for council, you have you have a paper that talks about some key points that you should know, but also, you know, when election day comes, it has some advice there of what takes place. I didn't receive this when I was running, and so I didn't know what to expect. I didn't want anyone to go through the same thing. So I look forward to working with all of you, whether or not you get elected. So thank you for stepping up to the plate. And we will be reaching out to you because we will have a forum, and you'll be invited. And I just look forward to meeting you and your families and just doing great things in Colmar Manor. So thank you. Okay, great. So under presentations, I think that's, well, at the end of this, I also wanted to mention that I didn't want to say this before because I was waiting for April 1st because I didn't want to have egg on my face if anything happened. We won. There is no gas station being developed by the car wash. So the reason I waited until April 1st is because the developers had until April 1st they withdrew their application, but they could have resubmitted it, and they did not. So we still have a long ways to go because we need to figure out, this is the task for all of you, but especially our elected leaders. What are we gonna do with that car wash? What can we do? What else can we do in Colmar Manor? Either way, this all couldn't have taken place without the council, without our green team, without the group of residents that came together and were literally meeting in each other's homes. Mr. Bowles was one of those that led the charge and led those meetings. We even met in Council Member Brooks' home. We met in resident Brenda Jones' home. They've happened at different times, different locations, but this was all for us to come together and think through what do we want to see and how will we fight this. So there was definitely a strategy, right? The strategy was to speak on this in a unified way, to target elected officials, to have conversations on regional, state levels to make sure that this doesn't happen. Even the air monitors that we have in town we did that so that we could start measuring the air quality in our town, to have some data to bring to this argument. So this is what happens when you work united. So I want to give a huge thank you to Council Member Jolene Ivy. She's the chair of the County Council. She has had our back. So I just want to say thank you to her, and we will celebrate. We will celebrate. At the end of this meeting, we have some cake. So we have some cake saying congratulations for all the work that we've done, and then best wishes to the outgoing council and the incoming council. So make sure to stick around. We have chocolate cake and vanilla cake. So that's that. Okay, great. So next on the agenda is the consent agenda. So it's the approval of the minutes. We don't have any minutes to approve. We have the department operations report. So we have the town administrator and public works report, treasurer's report, public safety, code compliance. If there are any questions on any of these reports, sorry. So go ahead, council member, town administrator Holcomb.
Haven't been called that in a while. Sorry, I just wanted to pull two items out of my report to bring up for information purposes for everyone. One, the Red Speed contract that we had signed last year to put 2 new speed cameras on Bladensburg Road were finally approved by the State Highway Administration. And so now within probably about 120 days, the speed camera, 2 speed cameras will be operational on Bladensburg Road. So that's been about 5 months in the making and a lot of back and forth. In fact, the lobbying firm Greenwill helped in getting involved in that situation as well, because we thought we would have to make a legislative ask to fix something, but we were able to get that done. And then the other item I was really excited about, so I just wanted to bring it up, is that the Center for Community Engagement, Environmental Justice, and Health at UMD's School of Public Health awarded us a $10,000 grant to do a youth corps. It's an environmental youth corps here in town for high school and college age students. We'll be sending out information on that. We haven't fully received the grant yet, but we were awarded it. It also comes with technical assistance. So we're able to collaborate with other grantees throughout the Mid-Atlantic on various environmental issues. But specifically, the core that we have are to go door to door. They're to survey the town residents to find out what their current knowledge is on a variety of environmental issues that impact the town, and then build education around the issues that we're the most efficient in to get to residents so that we can try to improve their knowledge on it and improve the environment within the town. And I think this is a really good opportunity to be a test model moving forward for other communities, especially ones that have language barriers that we see. And so I'm really excited. It's probably one of our smaller grants for $10,000, but it's a really exciting one for me. So nerding out a little bit.
Thank you. And thank you for all of your work on that. And thank you for all your work on the speed cameras. So yeah, so if anyone wants to bring up any questions in regards to any of the department operations reports, please do so.
Councilmember Brooks, Ward 3, regarding the town administrator update. So what are the next steps for the Green Street? I know that we're still in the permitting process, but it's a timeline.
Yeah, good question. So the timeline, so there's a couple of components to that. What I would call phase 1 to me was the intersection at 40th, that's complete. Phase 2 was the design of 43rd in Newark, and we're stuck in that phase due to hiring an engineer about 9 months into the grant cycle. So we're a little bit behind on that. That was done In fact, we hired them, I think it was a couple months after I had gotten hired. So they had sat on that for a while, but the design phase is being held up by the county right now for permitting. They've implemented a couple new processes that the engineers are fighting with them over for a variety of reasons. In the meantime, we were awarded the construction grant for 43rd and Newark. So as soon as those permits are complete, we can actually go to RFP and construct the intersection immediately, which is good news. And then as a secondary note on phase 2 of that intersection was, if you recall, the design phase, we had extra money left over that they did not want to allow us to use for construction and had to use it for design. And so we are in the process of designing 41st and Newark with the mini roundabout, impermeable pavers, and improvements to the sidewalks at that intersection. And so that's still in the design phase. That does not have construction money attached to it yet. And then phase 3, what I consider the final phase of design, at least, we did receive the Community Legacy Grant through the Department of Housing and Community Development for streetscaping, which included new signage in town, but also included the engineering designs of the remainder of the street and any, this would be any type of bioswales, plantings, what have you. So the engineers kind of been given a little extra free will on this one to come with be a little creative. And when I say that, the reason being is we're utilizing, or I hope to utilize, the firm that's working with Edmiston and has been on their Green Street. And one of the things that they did to improve their Green Street, they've been using some experimental technology in their roadways to make the entirety of the street permeable on the sides as they go towards the gutter, as opposed to just the intersection. So I'm hoping that that can be something we can design to improve the rest of the road, but more to come on that. So with all that said, we're 3 different phases, 2 different design phases, 3 different design phases, 1 different construction phase, and then still finding the construction money for the remaining 2 pieces.
Yeah, that's a lot. Thank you. And now are we doing, the green team are they getting the points for any of this that we're doing?
Yes, this would all be part of that
Perfect.
Sustainable Maryland. And it's also part of our application with the Sustainable Communities reapplication that we just filed. That was a major component of it, and the completion of it is for the next 5 years.
Thank you. I had another question for Public Works. So they had suggested that they've been doing a lot of litter cleanup around fast food restaurants and trash receptacles. So my question was, how can we partner with those restaurants to limit some of that litter? And then the second one was for the Public Works, following up with the trash truck weekly to collect trash that falls out. How are we working with Bates to not have to do that? I feel that our Public Works has other important things.
Correct. I was opposed to that as well. However, residents complain about the trash blowing out of the truck. I actually, so seeing this on a weekly basis and a daily basis with the trash, especially coming from both the trucks and from the restaurants, it's also a consumer issue. I think more so than it is the businesses, to be honest. Putting trash in your trash can that's not bagged, when it's dumped, it is now loose in the back of a truck. And when the truck drives away, the garbage blows out the back of the truck. So sometimes as the workers on the back of the Bates truck are driving away on the back of a truck, the garbage is literally blowing out. And I don't think they're going to stop for every wrapper that blows out. And that's why we've been following them. And again, like I mentioned, at the request of residents that have called in saying, why don't you do that? Because we used to. So one thing is bagging. There has been I have been recommended by colleagues that some communities go to a requirement that you bag your garbage when you put it in. I don't know that we have to go to the extent of making it a law, but I do think there's an educational campaign. That's again part of that youth core idea, is what can we do to try to educate individuals on something as simple as throwing away garbage. You know, it has a large impact past that. And then the same thing with the fast food restaurants. A lot of people park on that back street on Newark, eat their lunch while they're on their lunch break from work and just drop it out the window. So I don't know how much it is the fast food restaurants. I do know most of them do send people out to clean up around them. McDonald's sends people out almost 3 times a day to clean up around their property. So
Thank you. I'll let some of the other council members ask questions before I ask anyone.
We're still speaking on the consent agenda. Chief, see it's been lively for you the past month. Anything of importance for our residents?
We've had a couple vehicles stolen again. Kias and the Hyundais are an issue. Please use a steering wheel lock. Kids can steal them pretty darn quick. And we had one vehicle stolen that was left running to warm up. Don't leave your car warming up. People come along and just see it, take advantage of it and drive one. That's my advice for the month.
So just to piggyback off of that, Councilmember Harding, if anyone sees any type of suspicious behavior, if anyone sees trash on the ground, or if your trash hasn't been picked up, if you see something going on that is questionable, you have a question about anything, please call the town hall. If it's an emergency, call 911. If it's not an emergency, you can call the non-emergency line, and just keep in mind that those calls get routed, depending on your issue, they get routed to Colmar Manor Police Department. The other thing to note is in regards to items that you leave in your car. Do not leave items of value in your car. Don't leave your social security card. Don't leave your passport. Don't leave your ID. Don't leave your laptop. Anything that is valuable to you, do not leave in your car. The other thing is we're in budget season. Like, we're talking about the budget now. So if there are things that you want to see your tax dollars allocated to, and this could include additional police, please let us know. Bring it up. I don't want to hear after the fact, oh, you didn't do this, or oh, you didn't do that, when you're given ample time. We've been talking about this since January. We've put out a survey. If there are things that you want money allocated to, please email us, call us, write us a note, come to the town hall. We provide space for you to speak. This is where all of this happens. So just make sure to make your voice heard. Also, come to the neighborhood watch meetings. See how you can become involved with a neighborhood watch. And if there are any other ideas that you have, any other projects that you see going on, actually, someone had told me, I forgot who told me, that at some point, Chief, there was a program where cars could register their tags to say that if after 2 p.m., after 2 a.m., you see my car being driven around town, I authorize the police to stop the car to see who's in it.
That is correct. I will see if that program still exists. That was run through the state of Maryland. You put a sticker on your window, and I'll see if it still exists.
Yeah, if we can look into that, that's something that could help. A lot of these things are happening in the wee hours of the night. So if there are other things that you see that other towns are doing, or just an idea that you have, bring it up to us.
This is Councilmember Brooks for Ward 3. So on the police report, March 2024, it looks like traffic stops in January were 9, 19 in February, 22 in March. What are we doing to kind of mitigate that and get that going in the opposite direction?
That's one that we'll probably disagree on. I like to see that number go up. That is officer initiated traffic stops for stop sign violations, speeding, etc.
I guess it was more in a sense of how can we educate residents so that we don't, so they're not making infractions. I guess that was a intent.
When I figure that answer out, I think that is part of the education process, is those traffic stops. A number of these are warnings issued, particularly to the town residents. There are some regular, pay the fine citations, but a lot of this is a part of the education process.
Oh,
Thank you.
yeah, thank you for saying that because actually I've been educated on it. So I got educated on this in Cottage City. And I've said this before, I have a reputation for having a lead foot. I like to speed, I do, sorry. But I've learned my lesson through all the tickets that I've received and being stopped in Cottage City and the speed camera that we had by the electronic billboard. These are all ways to educate people, but we can also educate them through our neighborhood watch. We can also, I mean, this is a place, an opportunity to educate. So yeah, I agree with you, Chief. Go ahead, Mr. Holcomb.
Yeah, one other educational piece, we're continuing to partner with Obvio, who came and presented with us, who had the demonstration project, the 40th in Newark. They have, because of the legislation that just passed and waiting for the governor to sign regarding stop sign, automated stop sign enforcement, which is seemingly only a test case scenario right now in Prince George's County, if the governor signs the bill. But because of that, they've reached out to a lot of communities to help us monitor or provide us with the camera systems to do monitoring. And one of the programs that they're initiating isn't necessarily just enforcement from a ticketing standpoint, but it would be able to monitor the infraction like we saw with the signs, notify you at the time that, hey, this happened. But behind the scenes, you can actually pull the data, and they have a system now that we can send letters to the individuals that were in violation to let them know that they did not stop properly, with information about how to stop properly. So it wouldn't be necessarily ticketing, but it would be an educational thing that we could do at various locations, just depending on the costs and whatnot. So we're testing that one probably within the next month or so. We're going to test that one out again and see how that works.
Thank you. Thank you. One more for Chief on the traffic accident reports on 3/1/2024. A juvenile was bitten by 3 dogs in the 3500 block of 43rd Avenue. So a question, what's the status of the juvenile? I hope that they're recovering. And how do we reduce this? Because that one, then there's another on 315, a loose dog, and then another alleged loose pit bull on 318. So
On the first, there was a juvenile bitten by 3 dogs. 3 dogs came from one house. That is the first time I'm aware of that particular house where the dogs got out. The child is recovering and is fine. And animal control animal control was notified, and they contacted the residents. On trying to do some of this by memory, on on Newton Street, we had a complaint of a loose dog one day, didn't find it. Next day, same problem. Animal control came out, where the officer held the dog. Animal control came out and picked it up. And the one on Lawrence Street, the loose pit bull, was not located. Now, if we do get a complaint and of a loose dog and we can contain it, animal control will come out and pick it up. If it's a residence that, for instance, the one on Newton Street where we got 2 calls on the first day, we knew which house it came from, although we did not locate the dog, and they were sent a letter advising them of the fines and the regulations as far as chains and rabies shots and all that. But the next day, I'm sure it's before they even received the letter, it was out again. And in that case, the animal control took the dog. We were able to contain it. Because the animal control will not come out for a loose dog unless it's contained. At least it won't come out for us as the police department unless we can contain it.
thank you.
Are there any other
I-
questions on the consent
Yes.
agenda?
Yeah, Councilmember Hobbs, a question to the chief. There is a miscellaneous police incident, and it says the court documents were served at a residence in the 3400 block of 39th Avenue. Can we know more about this incident? want to learn more about this incident, please. Thank you.
It was a family dispute in which court documents had been issued. When a court document's issued, particularly when it comes in a family-related incident, whether it be a peace order or a protection order, police officers can serve those papers on the scene. This is a little bit different than like a landlord tenant where sheriff's department comes out and serve it. Although in the protective and peace orders, the sheriff's department serves them as well. But if we encounter a situation or called to a situation where someone there says, I've just been to the courthouse and they issued me this, and then we're obligated to serve them at that time. So that's what that is.
Thank you.
Last
I
question. Go ahead.
I'm sorry.
Oh, Councilmember.
Yeah, just sorry. Yeah. So I just wanted to acknowledge the work of our code enforcement officer and how thoroughly he details all the cases, and how he also follow up with the resolution on the cases. And so if those present has had a chance to look at his report, is very detailed, and Mr. Freddie Rosales is doing a great job. And I know our town administrator Holcomb is also looking for software that is going to even enhance it, make it even easier to track these code enforcement violations. So I just would like to again to say thank you to Mr. Freddie Rosales for doing a great job for the town. Thank you.
I will pass that on to him. And yes, I agree with you.
Councilmember Brooks on Ward 3. This is for the treasurer's report. We spoke about this last Tuesday, but for the rest of the residents that are here in the town hall, can we help educate them on page 6 on the net income of what the 346,000 is in reference to?
What number is that?
So the net income for the July 23 to March 24, the 3,046, 355 and 91 cents.
Yeah, so that is the difference between the revenue found on page 1 and 2 and the expenditures spelled out on the other pages. So it's it would be the 1,475,812 found at the top of page 2, less the total expenditures of 1,822,168 found right above that $346,000 figure you mentioned on page 6. So it's revenue less expense for the year. Larger amount spent because we did have about $551,000 that was spent on ARPA projects. So even though it's showing as a deficit, you would normally be alarmed if that was normal. But we have a surplus of carryover ARPA monies that were used for a large portion of that.
Thank you. I just wanted to make sure the residents didn't see that as we're negative 346,000 and some change in the hole.
Any other items from the consent agenda? Okay, so we'll go ahead and move on to the mayor's report. So I'll go ahead and share my screen.
Don't you need a motion to approve the consent?
Oh, gosh, yes, thank you. Sorry. I would like to request a motion to accept and approve the consent agenda.
Councilmember Brooks makes the motion to approve the consent agenda and accept.
Councilmember Harden, I'll second that motion.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Okay, the ayes have it. Thank you so much. Okay, so now, let me go through the beginning. So it should, oh, actually, I haven't shared it on Zoom. Let me go ahead and share it on Zoom. I think this is it. Share. Okay. So as far as town events go, or meetings actually, so we attended the Port Towns quarterly meeting, and that's been, we have these meetings to discuss the Port Towns and how we collectively, as the town of Cottage City, Bladensburg, Edmonston, and Colmar Manor, can work together. Especially now during the Port Town Sector Plan, it's even more important for us to all be on the same page and work collaboratively towards with projects that will benefit all the towns. An example of that is the connected devices project that we applied for with the town of Bladensburg to get these laptop computers. If you haven't seen that in the newsletter, please pick up a newsletter, or just call the town hall and we can give you more information, or I can provide information before you leave. That's just one of many projects that we are looking to work on. In addition to that, I wanted to give an update on the Port Town CDC. So the Port Town CDC has been around for about 20 years, something like that. And through some things that happen, I guess, as it goes with these CDCs, a CDC is a Community Development Corporation. I'm a board member of the Port Town CDC. Councilmember Hobbs is a former board member. That CDC is dissolving, and we are looking to establish a new CDC. Some of the reasons for this are some mismanagement and some not following of the charter. And so we've decided collectively that we want to start fresh and that we want to form a new CDC that will have some guidelines and better leadership. In addition to that, if you have not visited a holistic life group that we have in town, Dr. Betty is the executive director of that, and she's the reason, for example, that we have our community health worker in the office. But there are a lot of initiatives and grants that she applies for that she likes to include Colmar Manor in. And so keep an eye out. One of those programs that she spoke to me about is a program to educate kids in regards to drugs, not using drugs, and how we can better inform our communities around the hazards of that and how to live better. In regards to administrative updates, restructuring of the front office, if you have not already met Ilhan, she is a new employee with our town, and we are so lucky to have her. She is our new office/program manager. So Ilhan, if you stand up, this is Ilhan. She has a very impressive background. She's worked with the Firefighter Association in Arlington, was it, or Sterling? In addition to other FEMA, she just has a lot of experience that we are going to benefit from. So thank you. Public Works, thank you to everyone. We didn't receive that much feedback in regards to the pavement project that the town undertook. We received some emails, but a lot of people have also called to thank us for the work that was done in regards to the sidewalks. They are super happy and impressed with the ADA compliance, wheelchair accessible intersections. But if there's anything that comes up, feel free to email us, call us. In addition to that, the trees that are being planted, if there are suggestions of where you would like to see trees, please contact us and we can see how that fits into our plan. But we are in the process of undertaking a lot of beautification efforts for the town. In regards to initiatives and projects, so charter review, we are still in the charter review process. So we have Oh, we have a lot of people here that were on the Charter Review Committee. So resident Carol Dixon is here. We have Mr. Thomas, we have Miss Pages, we have Phil here. So thank you again. I've said it before, and if you have not heard it, thank you for being a part of the committee. The biggest mistake that you can make is telling me that you feel your voice is unheard. And the biggest mistake you can tell me is that you want to participate, because I will put you to that. I will put you into a committee. I will make sure your voice gets heard, and you will be involved. So, but thank you for, all the time that you've invested in doing that. It's a very important process. It's a very important piece of our town. I mentioned the connected devices. So we have some Chromebooks that we have available to town residents. There are some income and eligibility requirements that you have to meet, but if you have questions about that, just come and speak with us and we'll give you that information, but we have them available. One of the things that we spoke about before the meeting was how the outreach room, that's what we call the room that's right here, how that was intended to be a computer lab. So who knows, maybe in the next couple of months, we'll test it out. We'll pilot a computer lab now that we have these devices. So there's that. Budget overview, just we have a special budget meeting scheduled for the 16th of April. So we have a special budget meeting scheduled for the 16th of April. Again, if there are any items that you want to ask about, that you think we need to allocate our money to, this is the time. Let us know, let your elected officials know. And there's a survey, which is also in the newsletter. I touched on the pavement project. Great. Some upcoming events that we have are the Let's Talk About Bees. So if you did not know, we have a resident beekeeper, and we will have a workshop on bees at the East Garden on the 13th of April. We will also have a dumpster on the 20th of April. So if you have large bulk items that you need to dispose of, we will have a dumpster at the town hall. If you are a senior, call us and we'll arrange to pick it up. On the 26th of April, we have these on a monthly basis. We have our recreation open house. We open up the entire town hall. We watch movies. We eat popcorn, we have hot dogs, we have a bouncy house for the kids. Sometimes we'll have like a arts and crafts activity. We open up the gym. We open up the, I'm calling it the teen room, so the kids can play video games, the adults can play video games. I love to play board games. If you want to play a board game or do a puzzle with me, just let me know. I'll come to the open house and we'll do that together. On the 27th of April, we have the Green with Pride Town Cleanup, and that is being led by the Green Team. Oops. On the 4th of May, we're going to have a tea time, so all the moms are welcome to come to the town hall. I invite you to come and have some tea and maybe some finger sandwiches. On the 7th of May, we have our town council elections. From 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. So please make sure to come to the town and vote. On the 11th of May, we have the Mother's Day party that is being hosted by the Hispanic Outreach Committee, and that will be here in this main hall. On the 18th of May, it's a super, super important day that I'm super, super excited about. So it's also the Kids to the Park Day. So Kids to the Park is an initiative where it's a National Day of Outdoor Play where kids and parents enjoy outdoor activities in their local parks. So it's all about getting families and kids out and about, enjoying their local parks. We have some of the best parks of any community. We have a lot of green space. But in addition to that, we are teaming up with the PGMAC, the Park and Planning. And they do creative placemaking. So creative placemaking is a concept where you find creative uses for spaces in your town. And so for us, it's the Larissy lot next to the Taco Bell / KFC. So they are going to be bringing a, what do you call those? A shipping container. We will have music. We will have activities there. I'm trying to find, we will have vendors. So this is all about celebrating that space and seeing what we can do with it. See what can happen when you use this space creatively. So 18th of May is going to be a big day. It's also the Bladensburg Waterfront Arts Festival. So the 18th is the day to come out and enjoy everything in the area. I wanted to share some pictures. So as I mentioned before, this is Brooksy. This is Mike Gorham's late wife. Miss Brooksy used to also drive the senior van in town. And I also heard that she liked to speed. But she did pass away. And she is actually the daughter of a former mayor of Colmar Manor. He was former Mayor Garrett, which is the gentleman with the tie. And next to him is Ms. Judy, who used to work in our office. So it's sad when I meet people like this, but I'm also thankful to get the opportunity to meet them and talk with them. So Chief and I both attended the service for Brooksy on Sunday. We extend our condolences to Mr. Gorham and his family. And actually, the council, before you leave, we have a card, a condolence card. If you haven't already signed it, if you could please sign it. On Friday, Councilmember Brooks invited the Centro de Apoyo Familiar, CAF, to host a credit workshop. And so they came to our town to host this workshop, and it was attended by Mr. Bowles, Ms. Blue, Irina, Ms. Waldo, and Ms. Bethay. In addition to that, they spread the word out to other communities, and we had some people, oh, actually, sorry, Miss Elsa from Ward 3 also came out. They came out to learn more about credit. So it was a great conversation. This is all about improving the literacy, not using big words, but really getting people knowledgeable about the basics and what credit means. It's especially important for our communities, especially our young community. So thank you, Councilmember Brooks, for bringing this to the town. It's such a small world. I actually know the founder of this organization. Well, not know her, but we know of each other, and our organizations have crossed paths before when I used to work in the nonprofit world. So it was nice to have her here, and I'm looking forward to more events with this organization to come. We also hosted our egg extravaganza in celebration of Easter. So as always, thank you to Amelia and to her family for coming and helping us plan these things. Big thank you to the Recreation Committee. So we had a lot of fun. We did it in coordination with the open house. So as I mentioned before, we open up our gym and the kids come out, and we played basketball, and we handed out some candy, and we had spaghetti and meatballs that evening. So it's just a great way to fellowship with your fellow community members and neighbors. I want to give a huge thank you to the Charms Inc. ladies who have been partnering with us to give us candy, but they've helped us with Halloween, where they've provided pumpkins. They helped us for Thanksgiving, where they've provided food, and they've also helped us during Christmas, where they've provided gifts for the kids of town. So again, I can't do any of this by myself. And we do partner with outside organizations to include them in the awesomeness that is Colmar Manor. So we also hosted a clothing swap, and this is one of many clothing swaps that we'll be hosting. The focus was on getting formal gowns for any young ladies that are going to prom. So we have some are new gowns, others are gowns that people don't use anymore. So if you are going to prom, or even if you're not, you have a formal event that you want to go to, right behind that door, there's a bunch of clothes and a bunch of pretty dresses. And even some slacks and nice shirts for men. So definitely come out and get what you need. We've been hosting these Sunday morning board games, partially because I've been playing Dungeons and Dragons with a couple of my neighbors. And I love board games, and it's a great way to meet other people. The particular board game that you see in the smaller picture is called photosynthesis. And it's a board game about trees and tree growth. And so Miss Doretha, who is one of the leads for the garden club, has mentioned that she'd like to take some of these types of board games that deal with nature and biology and use them to engage some people to come to the garden club. And I thought that that was a wonderful idea. So keep an eye out for board games in the garden. And funny enough, we have our Tree City designation thanks to our town administrator, Greg Holcomb. So we have 7 years of being a Tree City, and we celebrated Arbor Day with that. Do you have anything you want to add in regards to Arbor Day? There's a passion for trees in Colmar Manor. So there are a lot of passionate neighbors and residents who love the trees and want to see more of them, and so definitely get more involved. On the top left-hand side, you see Reverend Addison, who's with End Time Harvest Ministries, and Council Member Mendoza. We were invited, thank you to Council Member Ivy, to the Prince George's County Women's History Luncheon, and so that was a great event. The picture to the right of that is Fanny. Fanny Roque is also running for council. She couldn't be here this evening, but she's running for Ward 4 council member. And what I really enjoy about everyone that's running is that many of these people are people that I've met and have been inspired to run. So I'm so thankful and grateful and just super proud of everyone that is taking that courageous step. Great, so that's it for me. I'll go ahead and hand it over to our council members for their board reports. So Ward 1, Councilmember Harding.
Thank you, Mayor, for your report. I always love seeing the pictures that you put up from our events. I don't have a long report today. I'll start with concerns. So there have been talks among residents of a growing divisiveness that can be seen to affect our ability as mayor and council to think on what's best for the town and its people. I understand that there can be tension, but amazing things have bloomed in lieu of these intense moments. I believe we're all passionate about what the town stands for and can be. With that said, we as mayor and council should take responsibility in how we present ourselves, and as the perception can be misconstrued to our effectiveness as leadership. So with that, I take accountability in whatever I do, on camera and off camera, because I represent you all, and I only want to represent you in the best ways. So as far as that concern, I stand there. Did any mayor or council want to say anything there? The concern of divisiveness?
Yes. So when I introduced the candidates that are running for the council, I mentioned collaboration. I don't always agree with the council, and I don't think I should. And I don't think that they should always agree with me. But we do have to respect each other. And I think there have been times where we have not respected each other at all. And so for me, this election is particularly important. If you would like to see what the council members have been up to, I post these reports on our website. Take a look at what their focus are. Take a look at the videos on our YouTube channel of our council meetings to see how we represent you and how we talk to each other. Some of it I'm embarrassed by personally, because I also take responsibility for how I act when I feel that I've been disrespected. But what I'm calling for is that we all work collaboratively together, vote for people that want to work as a team. Vote for people that do not want to divide and that are proud of who we are. So that's my plea to everyone. As Councilmember Harding said, in spite of that, we've moved forward. But I am sad and I'm saddened that sometimes we don't display ourselves in the best way possible. I'm trying to work on it myself. I have tried with the people that I disagree with, but it hasn't worked. But you can see it, and I'm not Councilmember Harding isn't the only one that has mentioned this. People have come and they've mentioned it. People have told me that they've watched the YouTube videos, and they tell me, wow. And this is one reason why sometimes, or actually most of the time, these seats are empty. I don't blame people for not wanting to come and see that. So for me, it's very important that we work together. And so for the incoming council, we will have a retreat. But it's very important that you look closely at who you're voting for.
I agree. Vote for people who not only are going to bring people together in unity, vote for people who are willing to put in the work and to do the research, to read the meeting notes, to go out into the community and knock on doors and give out flyers of communication and to try to help the residents and the town leadership see the vision of how good Colmar Manor is and can be. So yes, agreed.
Okay, if there's no further comments, I'll continue my updates. I know that the school year is growing closer. This is towards our students. Community service hours are always available. If not through, through cleanups, go bother Greg or even email me or bother me because I'm always looking for opportunity to create in general, just for us to do something. This is our town hall. This is your town hall. So always use this as a home or as a place of safety, a shelter. That's what I did when I was a kid. I came here to play basketball when we used to have a big stage back there and it was wooden. I would be here on the Zumba nights. So I just want to reflect that this is open. It's an open house. And lastly, I guess I don't really have to say this one because we were just told that the 27th, the green team is doing the cleanup. I was just gonna say that Earth Day is coming up, and it's always been an annual ritual thing for us to go out and clean up. So I don't want it to leave it. I didn't want to leave it just to the council or committees. It's open to the community if they just want to come and get a picker. Because I come up here with my guys. I work with individuals with disabilities when I used to drive around. I would come with my guys and we would go out on Newton and walk down and just do a little pickup just for about 30 minutes. I don't want to get them too hot, and I'm sweating, but it's just an option. So I wanted to let everyone here know that you have that option if you wanted to take it up upon yourself. If I'm allowed to leave out the office on April 22nd, I will be out here doing that. So, and that ends my war report.
Thank you. Ward 2?
Councilmember Hobbs, I'll keep my camera off because it's dark outside, and I hope to join the town hall meeting within 15 minutes. So just wanted to mention the two meetings I've attended. The Port Towns quarterly meeting that was held, and Mayor mostly already provided the update on that one. I was a member there. However, the meeting stopped for a long time, and we did not have any clarity as to the board's or the president's intentions for continuing with the board. So therefore, it was decided it's best to dissolve the current board because of the finances that may have been or the debt that may have been incurred by the previous Port Town CDC. So they're starting anew in order not to mix up the finances or be potentially involved with somebody with the finances that were inherited from the previous board. So yes, that will be a new and exciting opportunity for Colmar Manor, for residents, for new council members to look out for and to get engaged in. So please pay attention. Those council members who are running to these little things. Financial literacy workshop. I would like to thank Mr. Council Member Keith Brooks for sponsoring the event. I've attended it and was reminded of what are good practices for keeping a good credit score. I also noted that there were some younger audience is present and participating in the work, and it is of the importance of building a good credit early on. So I also noted that there is a need for these type of workshops on again, credit, the financial literacy, banking, etc. So we hope this was just a good start, and there will be more workshops of the kind because there's a great need. There were a few. There was a resident concern living on the 40th place that there's a lack of speed bumps. Actually, there are no speed bumps. I noted there were no speed bumps when I visited the resident. And indeed, when I was talking to the resident in the amount of 15 minutes, there were quite a few cars speeding by, not stopping. As a result, someone's cat was killed. So of course, there was another issue that was triggered by this event, or an emotional issue that the cat was killed. But the underlying issue is the speeding on the 40th place. We know there are speed bumps. The town installed speed bumps across the town. However, it seems like the 40th place was not mentioned or maybe omitted. So in the next budget season, we do need to pay attention to allocating additional resources, potentially to installing a speed bump on that road. Council elections on May 7th, 2024. I wanted to say that I took it as my responsibility, since I'm not running, to identify leadership in my ward and ask them if they would be interested in running. And these were Allison Pages and Sal Messina. They emerged as leaders. Sal Messina is now co-chairing a Green Team meeting, and Allison Pages participated in the review of our charter. They've contributed their time, again, emerged as potential leaders, and I encourage them also to take their leadership further and run for election. So I'm really happy to see the two candidates running in Ward 2. So so now it's just I would call on the residents to come on this May the 7th and decide on who they would like to give their vote for and vote. Thank you. This concludes my report.
Thank you, Councilmember. Ward 3.
Councilmember Brooks for Ward 3. For the mayor, as well as Councilmember Hobbs, definitely want to thank Frezi and the CAF organization, as along with Trish and Fatima from Bank of America, for helping the residents with the financial literacy workshop. I definitely feel that there was a lot of great feedback from the residents. One of the elements was having another workshop geared towards the 16 to 25-year-old range. So definitely be on the lookout for that. Considering Arbor Day and considering how much the town is enamored with trees, KC Trees, they have a free tree program. So if you go to their website, you can schedule to have a consultant come. They'll assess your property and they'll provide you a list of possible trees to plant. Some of the requests from residents with June coming up. Some of the residents have requested that we have pride flags available at the town hall to celebrate Pride Month and to also put that in the May newsletter. There is another request from a resident regarding the open forum for candidates to display what they're going for as far as running for their campaign. And it's nice to see that we already have that in the works. On the charter, I was walking the town the other day and a resident had made the recommendation to potentially have the mayor and two council members run 1 year and then 2 years later have the other two council members. Therefore, there would never be an opportunity to have a loss of knowledge. I know the town administrator and the mayor have definitely been trying to create more documentation and processes. But that was one thing that the resident brought up. Also, similar to the mayor, definitely want to call out and give support for the victims in the Key Bridge accident. From a health perspective, there was a resident that stopped me the other day and mentioned they're having Habitat for Humanity partner with them to make some energy improvements on the house. That included window replacement and repair or replacement of utility items. So a washer, dryer, a dishwasher, things of that nature. So if you are in the market and need some assistance, maybe reaching out to Habitat for Humanity would be a good point of contact. With the summer coming up regarding the financial updates, this is more geared towards students. The Harry Hughes Center for Agroecology is seeking students for 2 summer internship programs. This would begin actually, if you go to the Harry R. Hughes Center for Agroecology, you can submit your application for that, and that would be for this summer. And then the last one is the Prince George's County Rain Check Rebate Program. So the program offers rebate incentives for homeowners, businesses, and others to install practices that will improve stormwater runoff quality, reduce pollution, and improve local stream and river health. So if you want to register for their next office hour, that would be Tuesday, 4/23 at 7 p.m. And the last thing is everybody come out and vote for this year's election. We need more participation. Without the input from the residents, we cannot see the true potential of this town. So we're calling on all residents to come out. Well, registration is passed, correct, Town Administrator?
That is correct.
So for those who have registered, well, actually, for those who haven't registered, still register. You can't register or you can't vote for this current up election for the council members. However, register as soon as possible, use your vote as your voice, and participate in this democratic process. That is all. Thank you.
Thank you, Council Member for Ward 4.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, everyone. I just wanted to take this opportunity to, because thinking now, this is going to be my last town meeting until the new council will get sworn in. So I wanted to take the opportunity to just say thank you to the residents of Colmar Manor for giving me the opportunity to serve 8 years. I did 2 terms. I was under 2 mayors, loads of council members, two, maybe 3 different chiefs. So the journey has been great. I'd like to just also thank organizations like the Maryland Municipal League. I learned so much from them. Women in Government, Prince George's Elected Women of Maryland. There's also Asian American Pacific Islander Club of Prince George's County. Joining that, I would not have met Rahelia. So it's a lot, even outside of being on the council. There are loads of opportunities to just meet different individuals, like the governor of Maryland, lieutenant governor. You'll meet different mayors, different council members, different commissioners. It has been a journey, and I would not have, it's just been great. And I thank all of you because there are some here that have been with me through these 8 years. And so thank you to Colmar Manor. I appreciate all of you and congratulations to all the candidates. And so vote, 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 May 7th. Thank you.
Thank you. So you've received a wealth of knowledge this evening on lots of events and initiatives that are taking place. If any council member would like to share those with me, because not everyone watches the YouTube videos. So I purposely create this PowerPoint slide so that we can document it. And in case you forgot what someone said, you can go back and look at it. So any updates that Councilmember Brooks, Councilmember Harding, Councilmember Mendoza, Councilmember Hobbs, of things that you've verbally mentioned but you'd like put into this council report, please share them with me. And you can find them on our website, okay? And you can also share this information with us, and we're happy to share it on our social media and in e-blast that we send out to the community. That's just to remind people, sign up for text messages, sign up for our email list, and follow us on social media. So now I would like to go ahead and open it up to public comments, resident comments. So please, if you're on Zoom, raise your hand if you'd like to say something. If you're here in person, just come up to the mic. Please state your name, where you live, and yeah.
Good evening, James Thomas. Mayor, you mentioned something about a bulk pickup.
Yes.
So when will that be?
So we are going to be having a dumpster in our town on the 20th of April. For seniors, just call the town hall. It's also on the 20th of April. We'll swing by and pick up whatever bulk item you have, and we'll place it in the dumpster for you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Oh, and thank you again for being a part of the Charter Review Committee. Mr. Rufus, where have you been? I've been wondering why you haven't been showing up.
Just been busy, tied up doing things. Back again. I know I'm Mr. First Pod, was there any update on the lighting situation? Did anyone discuss that yet?
It's a very good question. Pepco actually reached out randomly today, this morning, and sent us, apparently they've done an inventory of our lights in town without our knowledge, and want to talk about the next steps for lighting in the town. It also appears that we may be getting billed for more lighting than we actually have. So, but
Repeat that last part.
we may be getting billed for more lighting than we actually have.
Okay.
Per Pepco. So just more to come once I meet with them. They haven't set a date up yet.
Okay. Cats. I noticed that people complaining. We just redid my yard, $1,200. They're using it for a litter box because I put mulch all around my yard. Redid it, so everything looks nice. Is there anything we can do about that?
Yes.
Other than get a dog.
Well, I have a cat and I have a dog. No, but anyways, so a Cat's Life Rescue, we had allocated money for that program. Was it last year? And that funding ended, so that program isn't in the town anymore. But if this is something that you want to see as part of the budget,
Yes.
then are you saying that you support or you would like to see more money allocated towards a program like that?
Yes, ma'am. I'm not sure I'm not the only person in the town that has that problem.
I just want to make it clear, though, the Cat's Life Rescue did a catch and release program. And so if the cats are over 3 months old, they're released back to the community. And so this has been a complaint from some residents because they said, why are these people coming and dumping their cats in our neighborhood? They're not dumping the cats, they're returning the cats from where they came. I just want to also make it known and clear that the county will not take our cats. So if we round up the cats, we cannot drive them to the county kennel and drop them off, which some residents believe is the case. We cannot euthanize the cats and poison them, which is also something we get calls about from residents. So it's not the easiest issue to deal with in the world. So I'm glad to hear that you're okay with the catch and release program, because at least they're spayed and neutered and they're receiving shots, so they won't be giving out rabies to anyone. And in the last year, we did 65 cats. We adopted out 15 kittens and spayed 65 cats, which over the course of their lifetime is an estimate of almost 7,000 cats from being prevented. So, thank you.
Yesterday, or day before yesterday, there were like 7 cats sitting in the driveway of my neighbor's yard. I know they have 3 or 4 in their yard. I mean, it's getting bad. Okay. Okay, I'll talk to you before I leave. Yes. Construction. I'm doing a major renovation at my house. Just want to make sure I have a dumpster and a trailer park in my driveway. Is that any type of code violations or anything? Just want to be clear. Be there for about a month.
Yeah, no, like we spoke.
Yeah, we spoke, but I just want to make sure that
And
You want to get it on record. I got it.
yeah,
So,
get it on record, 'cause
long as it's in your driveway, not an
yeah,
issue. And
last time I had my car in my driveway and got towed, not by him, but previous
and I made
officers.
code enforcement officers aware of it as well. I spoke with him about it.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rufus.
Ms. Dixon, Ward 1, just real quick, I wanted to ask, you talked about collaboration, it's great to hear, we look forward to it. Is there a plan, you may have already spoken, for like some sort of a debate or some sort of something like that for the candidates that are coming in, or anything that the residents would know what their platforms are, what they're running for, what they stand for, what they believe? Is there anything planned for that?
So before Town Administrator Holcomb answers, we were waiting until yesterday for all the potential candidates to file, because a lot of people have been asking about that. And so now that we know who's running, we can share the information.
Yeah, so we've partnered with the League of Women Voters. They're coming back after kind of a small hiatus because of COVID. And so they've been known for 120 years of helping out with candidates nights. And so they're going to host our candidates night here in Town Hall from 6 until 9 p.m. on April 22nd. And so that's a Monday, 6 to 9, and we'll get that all out. But they're the ones that are actually organizing and running and asking the question. So it's also an outside organization and not the town. Yeah.
Thank you.
Hello, Trevante Jenkins again. I think that was an excellent segue. Miss Melinda, Miss Malik, Mr. Malik, I want to say thank you guys. Just the energy I felt in a room, I felt heart, outside of, I don't know about anything else that goes on, but I feel energy. And I feel like the energy that you guys have, I don't know that it will be filled. I'm not as nice as either of you. I try my hardest to emulate people like you guys. And I just want to say, as you guys go on, you are your forefathers' wildest dreams. I don't know that anything you have done or have not done yet in your life will amount to the passion, the spirit that you guys had, at least you displayed tonight, I think that's very important. And as we move forward, I guess you'll hear about a platform on the 22nd. So I'll end there. But as you go on in your life, Malik, as a young man, I would just say, put your passions to the side. right? Once you subdue your passions, everything else will be revealed to you. Take care.
Thank you so much. And I really appreciate you also highlighting Councilmember Harding. So, well, yes, I know, yes. But the reason I say that is because Councilmember Harding grew up here. He grew up in this town. He was a part of End Time Harvest Ministries. I don't know if he's the youngest, but he's definitely a younger council member, and he does bring a lot of passion. And he's the type of person that when I've asked him, like, hey, like, or he's brought ideas, like, what are we gonna do for Juneteenth? Or what are we gonna do in regards to a town cleanup? Or even tackling things that people might not be happy with him about. He did it. And he faced a lot of, for me, it broke my heart, the things that people were saying to him. But I am proud of him. And I have learned, you're right. I wish to have their patience. I wish to have their spirit. And so this isn't the end, because I don't think Councilmember Harding knows, but he's going to be part of the green team. And I think I've already told Councilmember Mendoza she's going to be a Port Town CDC board member. So they're not going away, but they are a wealth of knowledge. And I've learned so much from both of them. So thank you for saying that. And you're new to the town and you see it. So thank you. That's what I say about Mr. Rufus all the time. Okay, anyone online, anyone else who's here that would like to give some resident comments? Okay, so now we'll go on to new business, which is item A under 10 on the agenda. So there is a resolution in the packet, which it has been shared with all of the port towns to establish this new port town CDC. We're introducing it tonight. And voting on it if we feel that we can. So I'll read it quickly. It is a resolution establishing a joint community development corporation for the port towns, Bladensburg, Colmar Manor, Cottage City, and Edmiston. Oh, slow down. Yes, sorry. Whereas the towns of Bladensburg, Colmar Manor, Cottage City, and Edmiston recognize the need for collaborative efforts to address economic development. And actually, sorry, I should be pulling this up on I should share this. Please give me a moment so I can share it, so you all can read along with me and people online can also see it. I had it pulled up, but council member agenda and packet.
There you go, Mayor.
Oh, you're sharing it? Ah, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Baden. This is why we call you our ray of sunshine. Okay, so we'll provide a unified approach to representing the economic interest of the port towns, leveraging resources and advocating for necessary initiatives. And whereas it is imperative to ensure equitable representation from each municipality and, oh, that's the other resolution, Mr. Baden. Oh, it's okay, it's okay. Do you want to share it for me? Or is it, it's not, oh, it's not in his packet. Okay, that's fine. Where it is necessary to provide initial funding for the establishment of the joint CDC and to equally share the costs associated with legal fees and other formation expenses. And now therefore be it resolved by the town councils of Bladensburg, Colmar Manor, Cottage City, and Edmiston that number one, a joint community development corporation for the port towns of Bladensburg, Colmar Manor, Cottage City, and Edmiston is hereby established. Number two, The CDC shall serve as the representative body for addressing the port town's area's economic development and redevelopment needs. Number 3, the CDC shall be jointly funded by the towns of Bladensburg, Colmar Manor, Cottage City, and Edmonston. Each municipality shall provide seed funding to the joint CDC and equally divide the cost for legal fees and other formation expenses. The CDC board shall consist of no more than 15 voting members, including representatives appointed by each town council. These members shall include community members, business leaders, and residents. Number 5, besides the voting members, the CDC board shall include 4 ex officio members who are the town administrators of Bladensburg, Colmar Manor, Cottage City, and Edmonston. The town of Bladensburg, number 6, the towns of Bladensburg, Colmar Manor, Cottage City, and Edmonston jointly approve and commit to establishing this CDC and will appoint town staff to work on its establishment. Number 7, this resolution shall take effect immediately upon its passage. So why a CDC is important if you've never heard of a CDC before. There are certain grant funding that we as a town do not have the opportunity to apply for, but the CDC can. The CDC also has been in place for the past 20 years. Even though it's going to dissolve, it has been in place, and they have done joint projects throughout the port towns. This is also just another piece of education. We are considered a port town because these towns used to be part of the port of Bladensburg. And so we collectively have come together to be known as the port towns. Part of this is to leverage our resources together to get more money, to market ourselves. So even when we talk about the port town sector plan, having a port town already established or us working collectively together is a great thing. Because what we want to do is drive economic development, and we want to bring people into our town. And we also want to improve our property values. We want to improve our shared roads. So there's a whole lot that goes into this. So this is replacing or would replace what is dissolving. So none of this is new. I think maybe the only new thing might be the ex officio members who are the town administrators of Bladensburg, Colmar Manor, Cottage City, and Edmonston. Mr. Baden, I don't know if you have any historical knowledge that you'd like to share on this, or anyone else?
No, I think you did a good job.
Councilmember Hobbs. Okay, so I would like to request a motion to approve this resolution. By the way, we are not the only ones that are passing this resolution. All the port towns are. And when we talk about sharing the costs for legal expenses, some of us we share a lawyer with the town of Cottage City, and I think, do we share the lawyer with Edmonston too? Yeah, so that's what we mean, additional hours that he'll spend, not many, but we will be sharing the costs of all these things. So yes, I'd like to request a motion to accept this resolution.
Councilmember Hobbs makes the motion.
Councilmember Brooks seconds it.
I'd like to open it up now for discussion.
Councilmember Brooks for Ward 3, in the section where it says, whereas it is necessary to provide initial funding for the establishment of the joint CDC, where will the funding come from, and how much are we expected to provide for this initial funding?
Mr. Baden, can you provide some insight into that?
I've seen no numbers for that at this time.
So that's a decision of the council in the budgeting process to determine where the money would come from for that. But as the mayor just pointed out, some of it is costs associated with legal fees that could be absorbed through our regular course of business because of the sharing of the town attorney. And then also potentially potentially some costs that could be associated with, not necessarily with us specifically, but there have been discussions about potential consultants that are already working with the other towns, making this part of what they're actually being directed to do in terms of economic development for the town. So that would be kind of an indirect cost that could be associated with that. And so, but part of it, I think, is having the town administrators try to find external funding that could also help with this. And so that's been something that we've discussed as well.
Okay, yeah, and I definitely feel that by leveraging all the ports towns, you definitely can gain efficiencies on costs. I'm just wanting to make sure to the residents, we know what the number is that we're working with, but it sounds like we're going to resolve that during the budget discussions.
And I will add that in the past several budgets, I don't know how far back, but at least the past few years that I've been here, there's, not that it's a lot, but there's $1,000 that is budgeted for port towns joint expenses. And also there's still funds left over, I believe about $15,000 left over from the old Port Towns Days that is being held by the Anacostia Trail Heritage Area for the port towns for that old event that we used to have. And so there's been to talk about potentially asking the ATHA for that funds to help do this because.
Last question, is there a number for this initial funding that is too high that we would not go above?
That would be a decision for you all, but right now I think we're very, very early on to even, I don't think we're at the level of discussing even staff or anything like that. Yeah, this is, right now it's all the legal paperwork to actually get it started. And then trying to figure out what each town can kind of contribute, even if it's not monetarily, like space or equipment or what have you.
Okay, so there's no expectations that once we sign this, if they throw out a random number, the town has to, okay, all right, thank you.
Ms. Pages? Ms. Pages? Ms. Pages, sorry. Can you hold your comment? But I appreciate it. Yeah. Yes. So, but thank you for your comment. Let us finish here, and then if you want to ask the question afterwards. I've done the same thing to Mr. Rufus, and it's you'll learn. It's part of the process. Okay, great. Is there any other discussion? Okay, so I'll go ahead and Mr. Brooks, were you going to say something?
No, yeah, mine was just as long as to the understanding that the town administrator just said that there's no binding that whatever number they throw out, the town has to be responsible for it. I just want to look out for the next council and make sure that we're not definitely understand the residents' concerns that more than likely this will pay 10 times or it'll pay hands over full. But I just want to make sure that when I see writing that says necessary to provide initial funding, I just like to have clarification. So that's all.
Councilmember Hobbs, I have a question regarding number 5. So the CDC board shall include 4 ex officio members who are the town administrators of Bladensburg, Colmar Manor, Cottage City, and Evanston. Could you explain how these ex officio members will be selected or elected?
So they literally would be the town administrators.
Okay,
So that, yes, so, and they would no, they're non-voting members to
non-voting.
help just keep it coordinated and running. And that was part of, I think, the problem in the last kind of iteration is that there wasn't staff necessarily there. Staff got changed in the CDC, they lost leadership. So this helps the towns maintain some type of control over that without directly putting the elected officials in. And so that actually touches on that point, was one of the discussion points. So previously I actually served on a board of a CDC. before I was elected to office. And one of the issues that happened out of that was because of the federal funds that went through the CDC, I either had to make a choice of voting in the CDC or voting in the city council because you couldn't do both. And so in that discussion, that's why we put in here that the members would be made up of residents, however it's worded, business people, because that's really what a CDC is meant to be. It's not meant to be a board of elected officials, which also could pose some legal problems of having, council meetings, de facto council meetings by having a quorum of councils. So,
In a follow-up, so each of these towns do have a town administrator currently.
technically correct. Right now, well, actually, I think Cottage City is called a town manager, but same difference. And then right now, their full-time, well, their appointed manager had left, and they have a interim right now, but they are in the hiring process.
The reason I'm asking these questions because if we consider the situation where Colmar Manor was before, when we didn't have a town administrator, who would be fulfilling that vacancy in that case? And so I'm asking these questions in case there is no town administrator in the charter in one of these towns. I do not remember on the top of my head what the government system they have. So yeah, therefore I'm asking these questions. And also, how much time, how many hours of your work do you think you'll be devoting to this CDC work?
It's a good question. So to your first question, just keep in mind they're non-voting. So if there wasn't an administrator in place, there would be no representation in that sense. But it's really just administrative in the sense of paperwork and keeping things moving. All the decisions that are in being consulting, but all the decisions would be made by the boards of the individual board that's put in place. So those individuals that are administrators would not be making decisions for the CDC. So just keep that. In terms of number of hours, currently it has not been very much, even in the interim stages of discussing this. I honestly don't see it taking that many hours out of the regular day-to-day. But at the same time, it's in a way no different than putting, effort behind certain other projects that we just haven't had before. It's allocating time.
Thank you. These are all the questions I had.
Any other questions or discussion? Okay, so let's go ahead and I'll call for a vote, a roll call vote. So Ward 1?
Aye.
Ward 2?
Aye.
Ward 3?
Aye.
Ward 4?
Aye.
Mayor votes aye. Ayes have it. Okay. We have nothing under, oh, actually we do. We have the, okay. So we have the resolution affirming the town's commitment to human rights and a call for ceasefire in Gaza. So I'd like to request a motion to approve this resolution.
And just for clarification, it's R-05-2024.
Councilmember Melinda Mendoza, I'll make that motion stated.
Councilmember Harden, I'll second that motion.
So I'd like to open it up for discussion.
So this is Councilmember Brooks. I would like to thank all of the residents who came to the session earlier, voicing their concerns about the situation in Gaza, from very passionate speeches to historical reference, which I definitely appreciated, the resident providing historical reference to their new knowledge. And I would like to also say that if we're willing to alter the verbiage to request a ceasefire across the globe, as there are other conflicts that would warrant the stop of killing of innocent kids, women, men, all, I think that would be something that I could subscribe to. Also, since the Declaration of Independence of Israel in 1948, based off of the UN. Under international law, Israel has always met the standards for recognition as a sovereign state. So respecting the sovereign state, and a potential alternative could also be a telethon to congressional leaders to get them to push for a change of funding, how we allocate funding to not only Israel, but how we allocate funding to the Palestinian state. Those are some possible alternatives. And there was one resident who made the comment that global affairs are important, but local business is paramount. I believe Mr. Rufus had comment about lighting issues today. He's commented about parking issues in the past. I believe with the last month's storms, we had a lot of stormwater issues in Ward 4. We're continuing to work through the codes, we're continuing to work through the charter. A lot of residents voiced their concerns about taxes. So yeah, at this point, if we're willing to change the language, I may be willing to look at it at another perspective. Thank you.
Are you making a motion to change the language? Sorry, for clarification, you're asking, but I just want to know if you're making a motion, because that's the only process to change any wording on here.
Sure. I can either make the motion, or does the council member who sponsored the bill wants to make the motion? Okay.
Yeah, but and
There you go.
just for clarification, he
I'll
has
make that,
already
yes.
made a motion, so you would be making a motion to amend the resolution
Yeah,
based on your conversation.
Okay, I'll wait for him to make a comment and I can see.
I love you, Ms. Pages, but at this moment, please hold your comments. But I do love you.
To answer that, we have to discuss this with there's process that we motion to accept. Another council member seconds. We have a discussion on it. Then that would be following the voting. I mean, voting would follow that after discussion. We're here. We're at a point to make a decision. I appreciate everyone that came out to speak earlier today. That was powerful for me because I said it inside our work session that I've had discussions with individuals inside the town, but to see you take the initiative to come out to have this discussion with us means something else. I said it as well earlier that wording is important. The way that we say things is important. So I can understand Councilmember Brooks' reservation and his perspective on this. Personally, I've gone through it just a second ago again to see the wording and the verbiage that may be appalling or may be definitive of certain things that may not be representative of Colmar Manor. And I can't see it. And that's where I stand. So I have no further comment.
Councilmember Hobbs?
Yes. War is actually, you know, as I was mentioned, I'm an immigrant. I'm an immigrant from Ukraine. The war is part of the daily life of my family, who is all in Ukraine. There's human suffering. There are killings, there are bombings, and those kids are killed. The kids are killed in either Ukraine or Palestine. My heart bleeds when I see those photos. However, looking at this charter resolution, I believe it goes beyond our municipalities' responsibilities. We do have federal government who's already looking into stopping this, and therefore I condemn the aggression, but at this point, I condemn the aggression at all over the world, to ceasefire all over the world, to second Councilmember Brooks. Thank you.
¿Por qué no las dos? I mean, why not both? Um, we have our opportunity to show where we stand as a council. Councilmember Hobbs, I'd like to ask, what is more calling in this resolution compared to what we've passed before? Personally, when I read this, we're not asking anything of our people. We're not asking anything of our government, but to say, we don't like this. This is not something we like in our world. And if I can stand with that on a world objective, I'd do that for a separate resolution too. But the way that it was brought to us and the way that I read it, there's atrocities happening, and we're focused on this that was brought to us. I completely understand where you both come from, but yeah, I can't see the verbiage where it says we take a stand with. The only verbiage that's ever come was from a person's mouth. This document, it doesn't say that to me.
As I have mentioned earlier, and I did specifically wanted to read the resolution on Ukraine and on refugees. It was mere a gesture and not a call for action that I see in this resolution for immediate ceasefire, for release of hostages, for unrestricted entry to humanitarian assistance, to which I agree. So there's some words in this resolution that I cannot agree fully to.
Well, I mean, I can understand that. I feel like we didn't have any say on whether or not we would have an influx of refugees or influx of anything that we would have to support, yet we did it without that knowledge. In the same sense of right now, I don't think we're asking for us to open our arms to do anything. So I'm trying to really understand the similarity to the point that you're creating. This isn't a request for us to say we're accepting people. This isn't a request to say that we need money to send out food, perishables, anything like that. This is a document saying this is wrong. And Colmar Manor says this is wrong.
Councilmember Melinda Mendoza, so looking at this resolution, I don't see why we would not support as the town of Colmar Manor to just stop, like call for an immediate ceasefire. It's plain and simple.
So for me, I appreciate you rereading the resolution, Councilmember Hobbs, in regards to the Ukraine. That was, for me, in my opinion, it was more intense than what we're asking for here. And so for me, I have no problem saying, this is not okay. Do not spend my tax dollars on this. The same way I have the conviction to say, you know, Black Lives Matter. I don't bat an eye to say Black Lives Matter. I'm not gonna go around saying all lives matter because that's not the context that we're living in. We're living in a context where African Americans, people of color are being disproportionately affected, not only health-wise, but crime-wise. They're being attacked. They're being unjustly imprisoned. They're being killed. So for me, within that context, I'm not going to say all lives matter because I need to make a point to say Black Lives Matter. So that's kind of where I stand with it.
Councilmember Brooks, Ward 3. So the resolution starts, resolution affirming the town of Colmar Manor's commitment to human rights and support for congressional and worldwide calls for immediate ceasefire in Gaza. So that verbiage reads differently than the recent discussion of Black Lives Matter. It specifically states immediate ceasefire in Gaza. It doesn't, they're two different topics. So I just wanted to make sure we're understanding that.
I think in your opinion, they're two different topics. They're not two different topics for me.
And
So if
that's
there's
fair.
no further
That's fair.
discussion, I would like to go ahead and call a vote. So I'll go ahead and do a roll call vote. So Ward 1,
Aye.
Ward 2,
Hello, abstain.
Ward 3,
Abstain.
Ward 4,
Aye.
Mayor votes aye. The ayes have it.
Yes.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Baden. So the resolution passes. Thank you. By the way, I just want to say, thank you, Councilmember Harding. Thank you, Councilmember Mendoza, for having the courage. These are not easy things to address or to discuss. And time again, you have shown that you are there and you're willing to have the conversation and you're willing to open your mind. Okay, so thank you. You both leave a legacy in our town.
Point of order. I would
So
like
I
to.
would
No,
like
point
to,
of point of
no, I'm
order.
sorry,
Point
sir,
of
I did
order.
not call
Point of
on
order.
you.
Point of order.
Councilmember Brooks, I did not call on you.
Point of order.
Councilmember Brooks, I didn't call on you.
Point of order.
Councilmember Brooks, I didn't call on you.
Point of
Please
order.
please
That
follow
is
the
Robert's
council
Rules
rules.
of Order. Point of order is
You're out of
Robert's
order,
Rules of
Councilmember Brooks.
Mayor, if we allow, please, just a moment.
I would like Councilmember Brooks to not just talk out of order. And this is why we have council rules, the same way that I've asked Ms. Pages to hold her comments is the same way that I'm dealing with this now. Mr. Brooks, would you like to address me and the town?
So in the spirit of the plea that you gave to the residents and future elected officials, I would recommend that instead of acknowledging only Councilmember Mendoza and Councilmember Harding, acknowledging all the council members' willingness to have a conversation so that we're not given the perception of being divisive. That is all.
So Councilmember Brooks, I'm not calling them specifically out because no one else has been able to engage in the conversation. I'm not. My purpose on calling these two individuals out is that when we've dealt with these difficult conversations where it is about what we represent as a town, they have not backed down. They have taken the issue head on. They have intelligently researched it, spoken to other people. Not saying that no one else has, but they take a stand. They don't abstain. So that is why I said that.
Madam Mayor, may I speak?
Sure.
Okay, so because Councilmember Harding dealt with the difficult conversations and then they did not back down, they took on the issue and researched it. So would that imply that a Councilmember Hobbs or myself did not have the difficult conversations? They didn't back down for standing up for what their residents and what they believed in, and that they did not take it upon themselves to research?
No.
So then, based off of that, again, it would be a recommendation to acknowledge the full town council for their willingness.
I think that's a good point. Yeah,
That is
I again, I'm just saying that for the past 2 years where we've tackled these very, very strong issues, when residents have called them and yelled at them, when residents have stopped talking to them, they didn't back down and they stayed true in what they believed in. And to be honest with you, there have been things that we have not agreed on. We did not agree on a lot of things, but it took some time and relationship building and trust for us to get to a place of understanding. So I feel like that's something that I hope I can grow a relationship with future council members to this place of understanding where we don't have to agree, but we respect each other. And so I'm just showing them my gratitude because these were difficult things and we spoke about it. Trust me, I know because you didn't see eye to eye with me on everything, but you never hung up on me. You never demeaned me. And we always spoke to each other from a place of respect. So I just want to thank you for that.
Madam Mayor, may I make a comment?
Sure, go ahead.
So it was coming from a historical standpoint. It wasn't coming from this specific topic where you're acknowledging only Councilmember Mendoza and Councilmember Harding, and not Councilmember Hobbs, since she had been on the council the same length of time as them.
Yes.
Okay. All right. I just wanted to clarify.
All right, thank you. Okay, so we actually now have to go to the ARPA item under unfinished business, ARPA fund expenditure. So go ahead, Mr. Holcomb.
This is a Mr. Baden piece.
Would you like me to go ahead?
Yes, please.
All right, I'm gonna go ahead and share the screen again because most of what I will say is encapsulated in the memo that I sent to the council the end of last week. So you see that on your screen. You have a copy in your packets as well. So, as we've talked about over the last few years, the town was awarded about $1.3 million in funding from the American Rescue Plan. And those funds were received half in September of 2021 and half in August of 22. The requirements on those funds was that they needed to be expended or obligated by December 31st, 2024. So that's the end of this year. The town's done a pretty good job so far in expending those funds on various projects. So we have spent $1,063,000 on ARPA projects up to this point, which leaves a balance of funds of $250,558. At a previous meeting of the council made a one-time irrevocable election to utilize the full ARPA allocation as a standard allowance for calculating revenue loss, meaning, we designated all of the funds that we were receiving. We received them because we had lost revenue to the town that needed to be made up. And by making that election, that allowed us to use the ARPA funds for any governmental purpose. Now we've, used that $1,063,000 for ARPA projects that were designated by the council through various public hearings, various input from the residents of the town, and use them for those purposes. So, overall, we've done a very good job in using the monies for what the public asked us to use them for, and we'll continue to do that. But as we are reaching the end of the time period in which we need to use them, I find it prudent to make a recommendation to the council that we designate certain operating costs of the town and tell the U.S. Treasury that that is what we use the remainder of the funds for, specifically salary for general government, salary for public works, and waste collection. The reason I picked those three accounts are because those are larger dollar values for the town, larger items in their budget, and we have expended more than $250,000 in those accounts between July 1st of this year and March 31st. March 31st, 2024 marks our annual reporting to the U.S. Treasury on how we use the funds. And what I would like to do is notify them or report in that annual report that we have expended 100% of our funds that was given to us, so that we will meet the December 31st deadline well in advance. It doesn't, by doing that, we still have the monies on hand, and we could use those for whatever purposes we want. Whether that's to continue some of the projects that we had spelled out, continue to pay town administrator costs that we had designated as ARPA funds for the next couple of years, but we will not be tied to having to expend those monies by the end of the year, because we are saying, by making the motion I'm going to ask you to, that will designate those monies to be spent by March 31st of this year. So the motion that I would propose is highlighted in bold, that says to authorize the expenditure of ARPA funds retroactively for the period July 1st, 2023 to March 31st, 2024, in an amount of up to $250,559 as recommended by the clerk treasurer in the memo dated April 4th, which is basically what I just reviewed with you. So we've kind of talked about this, over the last year. I did have this memo reviewed by Tom Himmler, who was our ARPA consultant. He made minor change and asked to put the retroactively in, and for the time period, which I didn't have in my original motion. So he has said that other of his clients are doing something similar to this, and that he fully supports what we are doing here in order to show the expenditure of our funds and not have to pay the government back at the end of the year for not spending those monies. So with that, I will turn it back to the mayor and see if there's any questions you have.
Mr. Baden, can you increase the size, or can you zoom in on the memo towards the motion so that we can read it a little better?
Is that any better?
Oh, oops, yeah. Thank you, sir.
Councilmember Hobbs would like to make a motion to authorize the expenditure of ARPA funds retroactively for the period of July 1st, 2023 to March 31st, 2024, in the amount of up to $250,559, as recommended by the clerk treasurer in his memo to the council dated April 1st, 2024.
Councilmember Brooks seconds the motion.
I'd like to open this up for discussion.
Yeah, so Mr. Baden, so I see the proposed allocation is salary general government. I imagine that includes our town administrator. And what about, could you explain further salary for public works and waste collection?
Yep. So the salary for general government does not include the town administrator, because his salary is already captured under ARPA funds and has been used for that purpose. So the salary general government is the other office staff, with the exception of the town administrator. The public works salary would be for, our public works employees, and then the waste collection is the monies paid to Bates for the trash collection. So those are the three accounts, and we have spent in excess of those accounts, in excess of the $250,000, and that's why I picked those accounts. We could have picked any accounts that we paid operating expense out of, but I wanted to limit the number to make it simple, and if we, get audited and need to provide backup, it would be easier just to Salary records we keep for a long period of time, waste collection, we make one payment a month for 12 months. So for documentation purposes, if we have to substantiate it down the road, having a limited number of accounts versus a lot of smaller accounts and, having to preserve that documentation, would not be as easy. So that's why I chose those three.
Councilmember Brooks, on the general government salary, public works, waste collection, how difficult would it be to add street lighting? As I believe tonight, one of the residents came up and spoke about that. Another resident in my ward, they've voiced concerns about street lighting and had a auto theft at their residence. And then another resident had voiced concerns about another street light. So trying to add that to this mix, how difficult would that be? Or what would your recommendations to that be?
This motion is really not saying, so by making this motion, it's really doing it for reporting purposes. So we will still have $250,000 available to use for ARPA funded projects at whatever the council wants to use that for. So designating those three accounts is just for record keeping purposes because, as we stated up here at a previous town council meeting, the council made a one-time irrevocable election to utilize the full ARPA allocation as a standard allowance for calculating revenue loss. And the reason we did that is so that we could do what we're doing now. We could designate any of our operating costs to substantiate the use of those funds. Doesn't mean that we don't have that money. I mean, we were spending that money anyway for salaries, for public works and general government waste collection with our general revenue monies. But by taking this motion, we are using, we're telling the government we're using it for the use of ARPA funds. And we still have that $250,000 sitting there. So, it's, I don't know if that makes sense.
Yes, yeah. So to clarify, this is just for record keeping the items that you identified, but we could use it for other qualified ARPA expenses.
Yeah, so when we continue the budget discussion, there'll be a $250,000 figure, that we have available for ARPA. You could use that money to designate additional expenditures in the fiscal year 25 budget for the use of those funds. For streetlights or whatever other purpose you want. So that the money is still there.
Thank you for clarifying. That is all.
Okay, so if there's no further discussion, I'll go ahead and call a roll call vote. Ward 1,
Aye.
Ward 2,
Aye.
Ward 3,
Aye.
Ward 4.
Aye.
Mayor votes aye. Ayes have it.
Thank you.
So I would like to request a 5-minute break before we go into a closed session. So as a reminder, we have cake here. So please go have a slice of cake. In 5 minutes, when we come back, we will ask everyone to leave because it will be a closed session. Actually, yes. So are there any lingering resident comments that people would like to make? Or any questions on anything? Ms. Pages, now's the time to go up to the mic if you have a question or a comment. Okay. Okay, so if there's no one online, no one in person, please grab a piece of cake. We'll come back at, I'm actually gonna ask for 10 minutes. We'll come back at 9:35. And then we'll kick everyone off that's on Zoom for the closed session. But thank you everyone for coming tonight. Thank you for your feedback. Thank you. Thank you for that break. I'd like to now request a motion to go into a closed session for a personnel item.
Councilmember Brooks makes that motion as stated.
Councilmember Hobbs, second it.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, thank you. So we will now go into the closed session.
Okay, so